He's in the background. Shout out to him. Shout out to my friends and owners and publishers of the community newspapers, Michael and Grant Miller. I can't thank you and the community newspapers team for putting on the show. Today we have a very, very important guest, somebody who I just recently met, but the more I speak with her, the more I want to learn about her, the more I want to get involved with her, the more I want her to speak to you guys, our audience, on what she's doing. And without further ado, her name is Miriam Dorsett. A little bit about her. She's an artist, full-time artist, also an entrepreneur, and I want her to tell us about her business interests and what she's doing there. This is a transplant, a person that came from New Mexico. Am I right? New Mexico?
New Mexico, grew up there, then went to the San Francisco Bay Area with my family, and I've been in Miami for over a decade.
Wow. So what brings you to Miami, Miriam?
Well, I came here on after a cross-country road trip. I had an internship set up here to lobby people through the Public Interest Research Group. We were trying to raise awareness and funds to change the standards of the quality for free and reduced lunch and breakfast programs for children in the United States of America. Because back then they were lower standards than your pet food. So we were feeding kids really not good standard of food. Of course, that year, the oil spill happened. So a lot of our efforts changed. I don't know if you remember that back in 2010, there was that huge oil spill.
The one off the Gulf, west coast of Florida.
Yeah.
The Gulf.
So I was doing that here in Miami. It was like an internship that I picked up for the summer. But when I came here, I really just was overwhelmed with the beauty of this place and the diversity. And I just had this gut feeling. I'm very sensitive to my environment. And I felt that this was where I needed to be. So I decided to move here. I didn't go back to California until months later and had to pack up my apartment and come back here. But yeah, so that's how I came here.
So you are a soon-to-be 3-time author, right? Published author? Is that the way you say it?
Yes.
3 books?
Yeah, that is correct. This year, 2021, 2 new books will be coming out from me. I've written 2 books already, and they have been published. And now, over quarantine, I've been actually working on a major book. A lot of my books I'm an artist, so a lot of my books are very fun. They're light, they're refreshing, children's books. And so I've been working on more of a thicker material book. Mm-hmm. And of course, during the quarantine time, I really got into procrastinating. So I wrote 2 other books during the quarantine. Well, I finished one of them that was already kind of being written, but I never finished. So I finished that one. And then I wrote another one about dating during quarantine. So both of those books will be coming out before my next book, which I'm working on. So
if someone wanted to find out about those books or read them, right, and obviously buy a book, where can they find it and what's the title?
Well, you can, if you want to just find out information, you can go to bootstrappublications.com. That's the publisher that I use, which is my company that I started in 2017. And we are, all the books, they go on Amazon, and they also, sometimes some of the titles get picked up by bookshop.org, which is an Amazon alternative that just came out this past year that supports local bookstores. So they can check them out there.
Okay. And the titles?
The one that's currently out right now is called The Lion and the Elephant. It's a children's art book. It's gender neutral, and it's about the journey of life and friendship. And it teaches kids that life is their journey and they can make what they want out of it. It's also coming out in Spanish soon. It's been translated by my close friend, Steph Vidal, and she translated it. It's coming out in Spanish, which I'm very excited about. And then the next book that's coming out for kids is called Thank You. It's a gratitude and movement book for children. So it teaches them to start their day with gratitude and movement, which are two things that I practice and find very helpful. And I think that would be great to learn those skills from childhood. And then the next book that is coming out this year is called Tell Me Your Best Joke. And that's the one where I'm talking about some of the dating experiences I've had during pandemic.
Which I'm sure pretty it's challenging, right? And that's a topic of major interest for a lot of people is how do you date during COVID
Yeah.
and stay safe?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's
so
very interesting, and I'm very excited about the
any
Bumble
tips?
IPO.
Any tips?
Any tips for dating during the quarantine? I mean, I think that for me, one of the biggest tips was something that I learned a long time ago and then totally forgot. I'm an early adopter of technology. So when online dating came out, I was like on it, boom, let's do it. Let's test this out. Looks cool. And so it was still very new. So you wouldn't just go and meet up with these people. You'd just be like, okay, hold on. Like, let's get on the phone call first. Like, I'm going to talk to you for days and hours. But fast forward 2 years later, Uber came out. We're comfortable getting in people's cars and strangers. And so sometimes I would go out on dates with people that I never even spoke to them on the phone first. And then during quarantine, it was like my time and risk of going out. I was like, I went back to that and I was like, why did I ever stop doing this? Because it's such a great thing to do is to just pick up the phone, video even now, and just have a virtual date, a phone date with people first. And that will eliminate a lot of wasted time.
Sure. So certainly breaking the barriers, right? Or the icebreakers, as they say. So, but I wanted to shift to something because you mentioned technology, and that's really why I wanted you on the show because, you're not just an artist, but you're also in the tech, and you're an entrepreneur, and you're, a person that people should be watching out for, right? An emerging uh, figure here in a star, if you will, in South Florida. So let's talk about a little bit about tech and your involvement, and then let's shift to what the scene is like in Miami. Since many of the elected leadership, are now calling for Miami to be a tech hub.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us an insight a little bit about your involvement in tech and where we're going and what the scene is like in Miami?
Sure. Thank you so much. I'm very excited about the flurry that's happening. And I was on Clubhouse the other day. I've been on a lot of rooms in Clubhouse about this topic. And um, basically, I think that the timing for this is perfect. A lot of people have been saying, oh, we've been saying Miami's a tech hub for years. And it's true. We've been doing a lot of things. We have great things being built here in South Florida. And the timing right now, people are starting to pay attention. I think it's great. We have an opportunity to learn from a lot of mistakes of other regions, other tech regions, and not repeat those. And we still have a lot of room for growth to make sure that we have the systems in place, the processes to accommodate a boom like this. And we also have leaders that have really had to work hard to make a name for themselves out of Miami because we have not gotten the recognition across the globe for our power here. And so those type of people who have had to really fight for a stand and a stake and are now being recognized, you can't take that away from them. So even as we get this influx of people that are coming here, I really feel that Miami is going to be able to hold strong with our values and our beliefs as a tech hub, and nothing's going to take over. We're going to just become who we are, and people will embrace our culture, and it's going to be great, I think, for everyone. We have a huge opportunity here. I think that's why I had that feeling like that I was supposed to be here, because this time was always going to come. And for entrepreneurs like myself who are thinking like, oh, should I come to Miami or not? One of the greatest things about building a brand here in South Florida for me is that the work-life balance is hard to ignore. It's such a beautiful place. If you have a bad day or you miss a deal or something like that, you can take a walk on the beach. You can
Mhm.
go outside the Venetian, take a stroll. There's beauty everywhere that,
Sure.
for me, nature always grounds me back to what's important and helps me to kind of come back to that center and get back going. And entrepreneurs, that work-life balance, that mental health is so important to sustaining yourself. And I think Miami really provides you the environment to support that.
So we are here January 19th. It's maybe 70 some odd degrees outside. I was tempted to wear shorts, but I don't think I'll look good on shorts and on camera. But anyway, but the rest of the country is pretty much cold and frozen. So this is a great place to be. So this morning I was reading about a local tech company called Caribou.
Mhm.
They're a video communication company, but they also provide the ability for the people that are using it, like children, to be able to use pictures and animation to be able to communicate and make it that impersonal communication that now is so personal, so commonly used, more appealing for the children to communicate with their parents. But the interesting thing was that, look, it was started here in Miami and in South Florida, and they, in the last year during COVID, where everybody's been locked up, they've grown 10 times, tenfold. And they're saying that the key ingredient is giving the people, the audience, what they want. So they were able to break into a market that is pretty much from branding to servicing. And I think that's where we're shifting now, the tech industry. Those giants that are now going to emerge as the ones that are going to survive are the ones that are shifting from branding to servicing. And I wanted to get your thoughts on startups in Miami. What's that scene like? Are you familiar with the startup scene and what people are going through and what they're saying their challenges are?
I would say that I'm loosely affiliated with the startup scene. I run a community called Product Hunt South Florida for about 3 years now. And we bring together people that are building thing makers and entrepreneurs to talk about what they're building. I'm also involved in 1 Million Cups. I have several children's books, my own and some others under Bootstrap Publications. They're on Caribou. Caribou and Max and the team over there are fantastic. I am so excited for their success. I can tell you they just have rolled out some things for publishers on their back end that are very exciting
What's
for
the owner's
us,
name?
because
Max,
they
the
are really a marketplace. They're serving families and they're serving publishers. So that is not an easy startup to build. A marketplace is one of the most challenging startups to build. And one of the things with Max's technology in particular that I love, as someone who is a literacy advocate and who knows that reading is so important for children, and we look at what does reading on digital devices do to children's brains. There is a lot of studies out there, if you're interested in knowing, it is changing them. They're empathizing differently with synapses are not being created. We're seeing new synapses being done. You can check out the work of Dr. Mary Wolf. She wrote a book all about this. It was very interesting to me. And the technology that Max's Caribou product does is literally the best way that we have found to integrate reading and reading with children and technology, because not only are they on the worst is, and I learned this little tidbit from Carlos Vasquez, who runs Miami EdTech. The worst is just you give your kid an iPad and you're just like, bye. Like I'm in the kitchen and they're over there doing whatever. And then there's levels to it, but then where Caribou is the best. Not only are they reading on it, but they're interacting with another person through visual video, and they're using their motor skills and on the interface. So highly suggest going on to that tool and checking it out. Caribou's amazing.
Maybe you can help us get them on the show. How's that?
Yeah, I'm sure Max is
the co-owner, right? And then I forgot her partner's name, the co-founder.
Max is the co-owner.
The co-founder.
Yeah, I'm sure Max is the co-owner, right? And then is it, I forgot her partner's name. The co-founder.
The co-founder.
Yeah, I'm sure Max is the co-owner. I think
Arturo?
Augusto or something. It starts with
So,
an A, I think.
yes.
But you know what would be great, Robert? Look, just hop on. You just got on Clubhouse. Literally, Max is there all the time. Just go on Clubhouse, say, hey, what's up, Max? I guarantee she'll be like, yeah, let's come on the show. You can line it up like that. She's so open to talking about things. And also, I would say that just in another note with Miami and the things that we have in place, the small business scene here, which I'm also very active in, Miami's a great place. Like, yes, startups, you always think, oh, if you're going to be a startup, entrepreneurship is very glamorized. And I'm here to tell you it is not glamorous. Okay. It is rough. It is a rough road. Be prepared if you're going to be on that journey to face challenges that you will never, ever have thought you would have to face and overcome. And small businesses is a great way to still have a lot of freedom, which is personally one of the reasons why I became an entrepreneur. And Miami has a great ecosystem for small businesses and small brands. And look at Miami Community News. The support that they give to small businesses is unbelievable. I'm so grateful to have found this station over quarantine pandemic time, and to do my shows on Miami's Community News has been uplifting and given me life. And they are really out there every day promoting the small businesses of our community. And so not only I think people are going to come here and find success with building startups, and we're going to start to see more large stories with venture capitalist firms and those glamorized things in the press, but also we're going to see a lot more success with our small businesses. And that's part of what makes Miami community really special, is you can go to these mom and pops, these family owned businesses, and you can really experience connecting with people and supporting them, and that makes you feel good.
And that brings me to one last point here, Miriam. So in this quest to convert Miami into a tech hub, right? The tech hub. I think we need to remember and really stay focused on, yes, there are those who are like the leaders and want to bring and attract people from outside the state, transplants, if you will. But there's a whole set, the community like Max and Caribou and a whole bunch of other small startup companies that have started up here that are emerging companies that we cannot forget about those people. And we want to make sure that they come on and they get their say, and that we also work across the board with the politicians, the elected officials, to change the policies to be able to make sure that we can scale up these businesses, because what's happening is a lot of them are getting lost in the shuffle. And at the end of the day, what I'm seeking is for our workforce, our local economy to prosper. I know you're committed to that. Miriam, one last thought or one last comment. You host 2 shows on community newspapers. Why don't you give a plug to your shows and tell people about that real quick? We have 2 minutes left. And if you could do that, it'd be great.
Thank you for the opportunity. Yes, and I echo your thoughts on just making sure, and I know that the leaders here are going to make sure that the startups who've been building here are not left behind. We have a seat at the table, and if you don't feel like you have a seat at the table, I'm here to tell you that you do. You can reach out to me. If I will connect you with whoever you need to be connected to if you're feeling like you are being marginalized and your voice is not being heard. And we will vote for that too. I think we have an active voting population here, and the eye is definitely on those that are making those political decisions. Race to the Top is my show, my latest little passion project on Miami's Community News. We bring on voices that of people of color and those from the African Black community, the African diaspora, or those that are doing work that intersect with those communities. It's been a direct response from Miami's Community News to the 2020 systemic protests and changes that we're starting to see. I think it's a great example of how brands can really take action and do something, not just post a little black square. They said, no, we're going to do a show. We're going to put numbers in place. We're going to bring on X number of our guests are going to be this, X number of our hosts of our shows are going to be that. They've really taken the steps and are putting the action behind their words. And then also I'm actually a producer, and sometimes I step in as co-host for the Miami View Women Show, which is about empowering women here in Miami. So you can definitely tune in on Miami's Community News to see both of those shows. And we're so grateful for the support of them. And I'm really excited to have met you in the studio at Miami Community News, and look forward to just learning more about you.
Yeah, thank you. And I do too. And hopefully we'll be doing some things with artists. We have the artists coming up, music and entertainment, performing artists. So that's really cool. But listen, one last plug here for the Miami Community Newspapers. The Millers has gone through a big expense at giving us an opportunity to host these shows. I think for those of you that out in the community, you should consider their services, because they are really a community, not just a newspaper, but a network that helps people grow. I am so appreciative of the team here for everything that they've given me the opportunity. I feel right at home, and I want to help them grow. And I think it's also, they grow, we all grow together. Miriam, I can't thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you next week. And let's,
like,
do an even
comment,
better
and
job.
share. Like, comment, and
Yes.
share. That's the easiest way you can do to support these shows. Like them, comment, and share.
Outstanding. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.